some people want to honor the Sabbath, then that's great. Let them honor the Sabbath. They're not violating any principles. They're not doing anything wrong. But if a person wants to honor the first day of the week, they're not doing anything wrong either.
Ask the pastor. What is the true Sabbath day in the Bible?
I think in order to really process and understand the concept of the Sabbath, we have to take a step back and understand that the Sabbath predates the law. God established the Sabbath in creation. God created for 6 days, and on the Sabbath day, on the seventh day, he rested, and he established that as a day of rest. And what God left for us was a model, right, of working 6 days and having a day of rest. God did not make us to be robots, to work, and not take a break and not take rest, but God has put into our system a day to rest and a day to reflect. God said one of the purposes of the Sabbath was to remember the Lord that brought them out of bondage. So the concept of the Sabbath is to be a day to rest and a day to reflect on what God has done for us. But what you see when you go into the New Testament is there was a shift. There was a shift from gathering and reflecting on the Sabbath day to gathering and reflecting on the first day. And the reason why the believers began to gather on the first day was to commemorate the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. And so you see, for example, Paul tells the Corinthians that when you gather together on the Lord's Day, on the first day of the week, make sure that you put aside a certain portion to help contribute to the body. John, in the book of Revelation, he was on the Lord's Day, right? The first day of the week. And the Bible talks about in the book of Acts how they would gather on the first day of the week. And so what you see in the New Testament is a shift to commemorate and to remember the resurrection of Christ on the first day of the week. Now, what does that mean for us today? Is it wrong for us to worship on Saturday as opposed to Sunday, or is it wrong for us to worship on Sunday as opposed to Saturday? What we find in the Bible is that we should worship every day, right? And Paul says in Romans chapter 14 that we can't judge another person's servant, that if some people want to honor the Sabbath, then that's great. Let them honor the Sabbath. They're not violating any principles. They're not doing anything wrong. But if a person wants to honor the first day of the week and they want to make that as a day of worship and celebration, they're not doing anything wrong either. And so we have to be careful that the principle of the Sabbath is what we want to apply in our life.
This is the thing I want you to take away from this. We are not telling you not to worship, not to go to service, because you could say, well, they said that I could worship, I could take a day of rest any day I want to. No, we're not saying not to attend certain, not to forsaken of the assembly as a manner of some is. We're not saying don't go to church. We're not saying don't go to God and worship, but we're saying to you that we are not bound under the law of a certain day. So if you haven't been going to church, time to come on back to church.
Come on, preach it.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. To see more like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Get all the latest content from TCT Ministries. We'd love to pray alongside you for God's blessings in your life, so you can email your prayer requests to prayer@tct.tv or click the link below and submit your request at tct.tv. God bless you and thank you for watching.